Our life on earth is woven together with countless necessities, duties, responsibilities, daily obligations that seem to bind our hands and our hearts to the world. Work, family, deadlines, the repetitive weight of ordinary days. All of this can appear to distance us from God, like a constant distraction from the spiritual life. And yet, it is precisely there, at the very heart of these worldly occupations, that our salvation is worked out. The world teaches us to divide, on one side what is spiritual, on the other what is practical, on one side God, on the other work. But this division does not come from God. It is a subtle lie, a fracture that opens the soul to dispersion. For a human being does not live in compartments. He lives either wholly before God or wholly apart from Him. Some tasks of life carry a natural joy: parenthood, marital love, the building of something good. Others feel sterile, repetitive, suffocating. These are the labors that do not feed the ego, that bring no recognition, that seem to hold no meaning. And it is precisely there that the heart rebels. Their murmuring is born. There the mind runs ahead, seeking escape, rushing to finish, longing for something more important. But for the Christian, no task is insignificant. Everything that God allows in our life becomes either a place of encounter with Him or a place of resistance to Him. There are no neutral moments. Every action is either an offering or a refusal. We live in a world that constantly cultivates dissatisfaction. It whispers that we deserve more, that we are wasted, that our time is valuable only if it produces status, money, or pleasure. The demons know this logic well and wield it skillfully. They murmur, "You are too good for this job. This is unjust. This is unfair. This is not what you should be doing." Thus the mind becomes restless, the heart hardens, and peace disappears. But Christ did not promise us an interesting life. He promised us a cross. The yoke we carry today, the job we hate, the unjust superior, the invisible labor, the grinding boredom, is not accidental. It is the yoke God has permitted for our healing. Not because He delights in our suffering, but because He desires our freedom. And freedom always passes through the humiliation of the ego. Christ carried the heaviest yoke without complaint. He bore a cross He did not deserve in order to heal a humanity that did not wish to be healed. When we stumble under the weight of our responsibilities, when we fall into fatigue, irritation, or anger, we do not fall as Christ fell. He fell from bodily weakness after torture and wounds. We fall from the weakness of the soul corrupted by the passions. And yet God knows our frailty. He is not scandalized by our falls. But the demons are, not in order to heal them, but to exploit them. When we hide our sin, when we justify resentment, when we secretly cultivate anger and self-pity, we allow evil to work deep within us, far from the light. The fathers of the Church speak of God as the great surgeon. He cuts in order to heal. But the blade cannot operate if the patient resists. Confession is the act by which we voluntarily expose the wound to the light. It is the humility that saves. Without it, daily labor, rather than purifying us, becomes poison. Every moment of our life is a spiritual battlefield. Not only in church, not only in formal prayer, but in traffic, in the office, in the factory, in the classroom, in the home. A harsh word from a superior, an injustice endured, unrecognized effort, everything becomes either an occasion for downfall or for glory. There is no neutrality. We are constantly attacked, but we are also constantly invited to glorify God. The same situation that urges us towards sin can become a ladder to the kingdom. Everything depends on how we respond. God did not create us for a meaningless life. He did not cast us into the world to destroy us. He created us to share in His joy. But the path back to that joy passes through purification. The passions we have cultivated, pride, greed, lust, selfishness, must be uprooted like weeds. This process is painful. That is why we resist. That is why we hate the situations that expose us. The work that humiliates us is often the very instrument God uses to save us. Every responsibility, every duty, every burden is an invitation to repentance. Not only our obvious sins, but the very structure of our false self must be dismantled. We may use our free will to resist, to harden ourselves, to complain. Or we may offer ourselves, not merely to accept, but, mystery of the saints, to give thanks. To give thanks for what empties us. To give thanks for what exposes us. To give thanks for what humbles us. The name of Christ must dwell in every action, not as a magical formula, but as a living presence. If we work without the remembrance of God, we become blind. If we separate even one area of life, work, money, leisure, from our Christian calling, that area becomes the enemy's point of entry. The demons do not seek the devout man in church. They seek the distracted man in daily life. There they sow fantasies, resentments, impure desires, justifications. Only the one who lives continually before God learns to recognize the evil thought at its birth. Without vigilance, the thought becomes imagination, imagination becomes desire, desire becomes sin. No work is too boring to be sanctified. No task is too lowly to be offered. No day is too empty to be filled with God. The world says, change your situation and you will be happy. Christ says, change your heart and you will be free. The yoke you carry today is not a mistake. It is a gift disguised as a burden. Accept it in faith. Carry it without murmuring. And in the very place of your labor, you will find the door of the kingdom. If this video touched your heart, please subscribe to the channel and keep us in your prayers.